How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. I just got back yesterday from a 15-day Europe trip, which was amazing. Got to visit Paris, Germany. While in Germany, got to do Oktoberfest, which is a crazy festival. It was very cool. Got to go to Italy, Rome specifically, and that was awesome, seeing like Colosseum and everything like that. And being out there for 15 days just gave a lot of time away from the studio, normal life, stuff like that, and it puts things in a different perspective, and it kind of makes you appreciate like having a studio and doing all that stuff. Because I brought a laptop with me, it was almost impossible to work. I think I only did one master while I was out there for the 15 days, and I didn't do any mixing just because I was limited on the plugins I had on that computer, and just like the RAM was so slow, and it just wasn't really work material type of computer. So now that I'm back, I was able to catch up on a couple things, send out projects, and I'm excited to get back into mixing. So that's something that being away from the studio really helps you realize that how much you actually like what you're doing. I know I like mixing and everything like that, but a reminder of how much you like it is always good. So taking a little break from the studio every now and then can be beneficial. But on the flip side of it, I was listening to an Audible book, which is 10X by Grant Cardone, and that was amazing. That it's the same as like when I was reading, it was the Gary V book, Crushing It, and that book just like put me in an overdrive. I just wanted to put out content, because that was the whole thing about the book. And then listening to Grant Cardone, it was perfect timing because I just started slacking off on my Instagram. I was posting every single day, building up a following. It was going great. And then I started slacking off, doing every 3 days or every 2 days or every 4 days. And that put like an instant stop to the growth. It just stopped at like 27,000 followers. And I mean, I'll still get people following the chat or the page, and they check out my old stuff. But toward the end, I started reposting a lot of old stuff, so people who've been around kept seeing that. So it was this whole like getting lazy type of thing. And that's the point of this video, is simply trying to remind myself not to get lazy with stuff. And then also, just for you guys as well, music is something you have to be extremely consistent with, constantly be on it all the time. And with that Grant Cardone book, if you want to read it or listen to it on Audible, definitely recommend it. And it's going to just remind you how much you have to put into it. And the whole thing is going 10x, so 10 times as hard as anybody else would. And that's the one way to succeed, is to go 10 times harder than you originally had planned. Like whatever average is, go 10 times as much as that. And that's something I need to implement. I don't follow up as much. He has this whole thing of following up and being very persistent with getting people interested and like making sure that you're helping them. If you think your product is going to help somebody and you don't go after them to get that help, then you're doing a disservice to that person. They're not going to receive that help if you don't try to make sure that you give it to them. So I'm going to start being more consistent with stuff. I need to really up my email game. That is way off. It's been very bad. So I need to up my email game. Going back to the everyday Instagram posting is something I need to do. My YouTube, man, I've been slacking off big time on that. So I need to be very consistent on YouTube. I did good in the beginning and then started slacking off. It's the same thing every time. YouTube went hard and then died off, and then tried to come back, and it just wasn't quite the same. So I need to go really hard on that and be very consistent and patient, because it's going to take a while to build back that fan base. My Instagram, it hasn't been that long since I stopped doing the daily posts, so I could probably jump back into that very quickly. So I need to make new content for that regularly. And then emails, I'm going to try to be way more consistent with that. That's all over the place. I want to make a schedule on that, get consistent with it. And then another thing that book, the 10X, talks about is setting your goals and making action steps and getting it going and not worrying about the details, committing to something, even if you don't know if you're going to be able to pull it off or not. Just that simple step of committing to it and putting it together and just getting yourself to do it is the big first step. So I made my goals, I made my action steps, and now I'm just going to be constantly putting out new stuff. So that's the goal here. If I fall off again, I mean, I'm human just like everybody else, but I need to remind myself to try to do that whole 10x thing, try to be consistent, and just keep putting stuff out. So I recommend you guys check out that 10x book by Grant Cardone. I listened to it on Audible, which was nice because you could hear him actually read his book to you and also like throw in a couple little extra things that aren't in the book. So that was cool. But if you want, just get the book and read it yourself. So definitely check that out and just try to be consistent, be patient, because it's going to take a long time of consistent action to be able to build up a fan base. When you're reaching out to people, don't just give up after the first try. Follow up with people. Just make sure that your intention is good. You're trying to help somebody, or you're trying to, it's not about like, oh, I want more money, that's why I'm chasing it. It's, I know this product's going to help you, and I want to make sure that you know as much as you can about it, and you're interested in purchasing it or interested in following up with this service or whatever it is you're trying to do. So that's something I'm going to try to do. I'm going to implement all that stuff. So check out that book, and hopefully you guys could grow your fan base just as I'm trying to do the same thing. So stick to that consistency, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which should be fairly soon after this one, since I'm going to start being more consistent. All right, peace.